Good evening. Welcome to Music Today. This is Keitaro Harada. The concept of the show is to bring in an artist each episode and have a conversation with the artist about a performance we will all watch and listen together. The live component is very important because I highly encourage all the viewers to comment and ask questions to the artist. Music Today is a bilingual show. The live streams during your evening will be in English, and the shows that broadcast during your morning time will be in Japanese for the fans in Japan. If you want to improve on your Japanese skills, you're more than welcome to watch the Japanese shows too. And after the live interview, you can use the subtitle button around here to listen to the Japanese interview, but watch the subtitles in English. Without further ado, I'd like to bring in our guest for tonight. Since I cannot hear your applaud, please do me a huge favor and use the comment section at the bottom to put some clapping emojis, or you can write clap, 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 so we know that you're there and participating. Please welcome our special guest, Stephanie Foley Davis.
Hi,
Stephanie.
Hi, Kay.
Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Very well. Where are you quarantined right now?
I am quarantined in my house, in my office in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Fantastic. Well, Thanks for being on the show. And for our viewers, I'd like to share just a little bit about Stephanie and myself. We met back recently in 2019, January, when we collaborated together on a production at the North Carolina Opera on Carmen.
Yes.
Try to see if you could find Stephanie. You could find me easily because it's a selfie that I took, but see if you can find Steph. She's right above my head.
Yes. I'm your headpiece for the evening.
And there's us also on the set. This was a fantastic production that we had.
Fun. It was so fun. I miss it.
Fenlon was our director, and there was a really wonderful energy in that cast where I think most of us were working together for the first time.
Yes.
So it was nice to meet you, really, literally on all ends, from the production team to the cast, and but we became a wonderful family over the several weeks that we spent together, almost 4 weeks together.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a very personal opera, so I'm not surprised that camaraderie sort of came out of that production. And it is really rare to not have more sort of mutual colleagues in a show. I mean, I know Fenlon from several years back, but I didn't know Alex Romano at all. And so that's a really good point that you bring up.
From that production of Carmen, we have
Hey,
Lucy saying hello to us. So thank you, Lucy, for tuning in.
That's great.
We also have several people who have already applauded.
Yes.
David Myers.
David. Hi, Kelly. That's my boss. Woohoo!
Oh, fantastic. And so Stephanie and I also had on our calendar another performance in 2020 in May, where you had graciously decided to accept it, to step in last minute to sing the Mozart's Requiem at the Savannah Philharmonic, where I'm the music director. And thank you for doing that at last minute, but then it got canceled.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Okay, next time.
Exactly. No, we'll have to bring you back. Well, not back. We have to bring you to. We promise you to come to Savannah. We actually have to bring you to Savannah. So I hope to make that promise, come true.
That would be great. Yeah.
Have you visited Savannah before?
I haven't. My husband and I drove through on our way to, Disney, like you do. But no, I hear that Savannah, the food and just the atmosphere, that it's just beautiful. So I look forward to being there, hopefully, eventually.
Yes. No, we'll bring you down. I like to keep my promise. Also, another hello from Cons.
Oh, hey, Connie.
Excellent. So let's talk about music, which is today's topic is Mozart's Requiem. So tell us a little bit about this piece.
Sure. I love this work. I think so many will join me in their adoration of this work. It's just, well, obviously the melodies are beautiful. The music is beautiful, but it's so interesting to me because it's just shrouded in all of this sort of, mystery. There's all the stories, about how it was completed, who completed it, who's your favorite that completed it. So I just find it fascinating every time I revisit to go through and singing the parts that we know for sure was written by Mozart. And then as we get, past, it's just into the offertory, maybe he wrote some of that, maybe he didn't. I just think it's fascinating to see how his pupils really took, literally his baton and his pencil and completed it. But I think it's such a grand example of a mass in every meaning of that word. I think Mozart just generally wrote beautifully for the voice, knew what he was doing as far as text painting. I know that we're going to listen to the Ricordare first, and I just think that whole text about this person asking for forgiveness of their sins because of what Jesus, did for all of us, is so beautifully just laid out, and the intricacies of the voices taking the theme and just going somewhere with it, and then that we all sort of come back to it. We revisit that theme at the end with the alto starting it off, and then it's just such as you listen to the Requiem, and I think if you've sung it or played it, you can just feel the anger and the in the Dies Irae, and then you'll feel like just the weeping in the Lacrimosa, and then the Hosanna at the end, just joyous. I think it's one of my favorites.
Let's listen before we listen to the Ricordare. A couple more hellos to recognize before we move on. Fenlon, our favorite director, and also from that production, Sam.
Oh, hey, Sam. Well, this is awesome. It's like a reunion.
And Regina.
That's my mama.
And she told us. All right, let's listen to a little bit of the first part of this Requiem.
Great.
Where is this performance from?
This is from Waite Chapel in Winston-Salem with the Winston-Salem Symphony.
Such beautiful harmonies.
Gorgeous.
How many times do you think you've sung Mozart Requiem?
You know, it's funny. I haven't sung it as many times as I've done like Messiah, which I don't even know how many Messiahs I've done now, but I think it's only been four
Okay.
times. Yeah, not many.
Would have been 5 had you come to Savannah, but you know.
Would you stop? Oh,
Beautiful,
I
beautiful.
love it. I love it. And I just love how he has, he'll put the alto and the tenor together to share a line, and then he'll put the alto and the soprano together to share a line. And so it goes from, the soprano and bass and then to the inner voices. It's just gorgeous.
Tell me what attracts you about Mozart's vocal writing.
I think first and foremost, and I'm sure most singers would agree with me, is that those melodies are undeniably gorgeous. Even even some of the most tragic characters and vocal lines that we sing from any one of his stories, it's still with the beauty and integrity behind it. I just think one of my favorite classes, and I'll plug the A.J. Fletcher Opera Institute, which is part of the North Carolina School of the Arts. I did a post-grad degree there. One of my favorite classes was a lecture on Mozart, and we started with the recits and just how he laid everything out for you. There's really no guesswork. There's not a lot of interpretation. He let you know that this is how I want it sung. This is how it should be sung. And here are my clues, whether it's the articulation, the dynamics. And I just think he was so smart in that way. And it gives us as performers the guidance to do our very best to do him honor in those beautiful melodies. That's probably my favorite part. It's just gorgeous music.
Do you have a favorite Mozart opera role, or just Mozart opera in general as a big picture?
Well, I love Figaro, as I think we all do, and of course I love playing a boy whenever I get a chance. But I do love Così. I love Dorabella. I think that music, especially the sisters, the Fiordiligi Dorabella stuff, is just glorious. So yeah.
I'd like for us to listen to a little bit more from the Requiem, the Benedictus. What goes in your mind in this Benedictus movement?
Well, this is the blessed is he, and that sort of blessed being blessed to just sing. I mean, besides the Hosanna at the end, the quartet is given this wonderful opportunity to sing the end pretty much. And again, it's one of those moments. And I've sung the Süssmayr, and this was an occasion where I sang the Levin. And
oh, really?
And we actually didn't know that we were singing the Levin.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And we're in like one of the first rehearsals, and we're going through and saying something's not right here. Something's not lining up, and then we realized that we should have been singing from the Levin. And so there's my insert for the Levin.
Would you explain to our viewers who may not be musically inclined what the difference of the Levin is?
So Levin is an American composer, and he has given his own finished product to the Requiem, because I think we know that Mozart might have written some of the offertory, but we're not really sure. There were just some sketches of what the rest might sound like. And so the Süssmayr, which I've done all the times before this performance, is what's in my lovely Barenreiter that I paid great money for. And Süssmayr was one of Mozart's pupils, and he and Mozart said, gave Süssmayr this task to please finish my last work. Which he did. So those are the two interpretations of the end of this work.
There's something always so pleasant about his melody that gives you this sigh of relief.
That's a perfect description. I mean, come on. And just letting the voices shine right there.
Have you sung with these soloists in the past?
So the tenor, Daniel Stein, is one of my very good friends.
Okay.
We went to graduate school together here at Greensboro, and we've sung together many times. I did not know Ilana. She is a colleague of Chris Gilliam at Davidson. And then the baritone, oh my goodness, and I'm just blanking on his name, but he was also a Fletcher Opera Institute fellow at School of the Arts. So I had not sung with the soprano or bass before, but Dan is he's a great friend of mine. So, and it's great that he still has this wonderful connection to the area. So he will have, gigs here sometimes. And so it's nice to catch up with him.
Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
We have several comments about the Requiem. Marcia is our librarian for the Savannah Philharmonic.
Oh, wonderful.
Also used to be in Indianapolis, and then she moved to Savannah before coming to Georgia. Fenland's always, saying gorgeous. About Figaro, perfect opera, of course. A viewer from Japan right now. Says,
wow.
Beautiful. Yeah, because it's right now 10 a.m. So I have my viewers who tune in at 9 p.m. every day in Japan time. I also encourage them to come in at the 10 a.m. time slot too, to improve their English skills. So
wow, goes both ways. Nice.
Exactly. We have Elizabeth.
Oh, she's a colleague and friend of mine at the Academy. Oh, it's great. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Fantastic. So Stephanie, let's talk a little bit about you. Share us about your upbringing and how you decided to pursue a career in music.
Sure. Well, my family, my parents are very much lovers of music. And so there was a lot of music around my house growing up. A lot of it was rock and roll and the blues. There was some classical. My dad is a big Pavarotti fan because of his mother. So just a wonderful childhood full of music, which I know is definitely part of why I decided to go into music. My mother is the only child of a then single mother, and my mother always wanted to take piano lessons. And so since she didn't get to take piano lessons, I had to take piano lessons. That's how it goes. And so I went into piano when I was about 7 or 8. And my dad's mother, the one who's a Pavarotti fan, she bought me my piano, which I have here in Greensboro. It's in my music room.
Oh, fantastic.
It's wonderful. And so I was a pianist for many years, actually. I actually majored in piano and voice and sound recording in undergrad. Don't do that, people. Don't do that, students. Don't triple major. It's a terrible idea.
You wanted to do it all.
It's not.
Did you play in your high school musical where you're on the stage and also playing the piano on the side when you're not singing?
Like that would, I mean, when we had to accompany other singers and instrumentalists as part of our degree. I mean, it's making my palms sweat right now. I mean, it just makes me so nervous. And I love piano. And I sort of knew, I knew when I was playing piano that I wanted to do something with music. I didn't know what that would be. When I was in high school, a lot of my friends were in the drama club and they were singing in the musicals, and I really just wanted to hang out with them. And so I thought, well, before I go ahead and sing in front of people, not knowing what I'm doing, I should probably take a voice lesson. So my piano teacher gave me a few voice lessons, bless her, and she helped me pick out some actually great songs. And I just found that I really loved singing, and I still loved playing piano, and that's why I continued with it. And at least for my freshman year, I had to drop piano my undergrad, much to my mother's dismay. But the singing part, I'm so privileged and grateful to have wonderful voice teachers. My undergraduate voice teacher is Sylvia Sharp, and I told her, and again, this is very ironic, I told her that I didn't want to sing like a lot of classical music. I said, I really want to, sing all kinds of music, like musical theater and, pop music. And she was like, okay, all right. But we have to sing some classical music. So she would give me a little baby aria from, the 24 Italian art song book every now and then, because it was a requirement. As I continued to study with her, and in that classical training way, even though I didn't know that that's what I was being taught, I was just being taught healthy singing, but it was really classical training. I really found I could feel a difference in my singing when I sang that way, when I was really paying attention and practicing the way I should. And with her guidance, I was like, this feels really great. I think I want to sing like this all the time. And so I did some opera scenes. And then my senior year, I did an opera. And I was really prepared to, after graduating, I went to SUNY Fredonia, State University of New York at Fredonia. After I graduated, I was really preparing to go home to Long Island, where I'm from, and get a studio job. I got a recording degree and just sing on the side for fun. But my voice teacher, Sylvia, said, well, I just really think you should go to grad school, because I think you would really excel. I think you'd be great at it. I think you'll enjoy it. And so Dr. Robert Wells was my college choir director at Fredonia, and he came down to Greensboro to get a professor job down here. And we kept in touch, and he said, you should come down here and audition. It's a great program. And I did. And sort of that was like, that was just really me not looking back after that. I was really addicted to just singing in this way where I felt like it. And again, I didn't know at the time really until I took those pedagogy classes that I was really achieving this lovely open throat, healthy singing. And it was stable. It wouldn't, it didn't let me down. I didn't feel tired. And I just I loved performing. That sort of performing bug really started to bite. Yeah. So I really enjoyed performing. I did a post-grad degree at the Fletcher Opera Institute. I did some young artist programs, and loved the opera art form, which is so ironic because that's just what I didn't want to do in the beginning. And here we are.
You grew up in a Pavarotti and rock household. Do you like all genres of music?
Yep. Yeah. So if I'm going to if I'm going to get off this live stream and want to listen to music, I'm probably going to put some Beatles on, or Led Zeppelin, or The Who, or Bad Company. That is my go-to when I want to listen to music. That's what I love to listen to. And I love to listen to opera also. But that is my first musical love, is that classic rock, 60s, 70s rock music. I love it.
One of my favorite person in the world has no idea about that genre, and that's Maestro Stephen White, who's watching the show right now. He doesn't know anything about rock and pop. He grew up only with classical music, and we always talk about how he really doesn't know, which is how can you live in the world not being influenced by Beatles or anything.
So Stephen, later on, we're going to plug my school, and I'm going to be giving an online lecture via one of my school's lectures, and it's all about non-classical singers. And so he might be very interested.
Fantastic. We also have more guests from our Carmen production. Taka is also watching. Your mom says that her musical background is Looney Tunes, which
It's
Looney
true.
Tunes does have great
It
classical
does. It does.
music.
Oh, thanks, Kelly.
Fenlon, of course, when you said Zeppelin, first one. First one.
Mhm. She's my kindred spirit there. My mom.
Stephanie, what is a performance that you will never forget?
There is always something special in every performance that I've done. That is always true. But an unforgettable performance for me was in grad school, my second year. Let's see, I wasn't in the chorus. Oh, because I was done with my chorale requirement. So I wasn't in the chorale, but the university chorale and the Greensboro Symphony, and then I think it was the Greensboro Choral Society was doing Alexander Nevsky, was doing Prokofiev's Alexander Nevsky. And the mezzo soprano was sick. And I was planning on going to the performance as a spectator. And I was in the hall going in between class, and my teacher, Dr. Wells, came up to me and he said, look, the mezzo soprano is sick and the performance is tonight. Could you sing the solo in Alexander Nevsky? And I said, sure. And I didn't know it at all.
Of course.
No, don't know it. Have never sung Russian ever. So so I went to his studio. We went over the melody, and then he said, okay, Dmitry Sitkovetsky, the maestro, is coming in about an hour and he'll go over the Russian with you. Okay. So I went to a practice room and finished basically woodshedding this melody I didn't know. And then we had a quick coaching. And then I went to the then War Memorial Auditorium and sang Alexander Nevsky with no orchestra rehearsal. And I almost got sick backstage. I was so nervous. I was like, what was I thinking? But it was unforgettable. And then just, as fate would have it, I think what year was it? Now I'm going to mess up the year. 2014, I think. The Greensboro Symphony and Winston-Salem Symphony did a collaborative and did Alexander Nevsky, and they invited me to come sing it again with more preparation. So that was nice. I had more time to really make sure I knew it.
These things do happen when you have to step in last minute. You cannot anticipate that, but what's the beauty about all these kinds of last minute step-ins is the fact that you are thankful for the training that you have had throughout your career that enables you to be able to do that with, I wouldn't call it ease, but there is ease to it, that that you can comfortably say, yes, I have 4 hours, I'll do it. I can do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've found that that calm, that ease that you talk about has really served me well. I also learned Albert Herring by Britten in a very short amount of time. At my alma mater at the Fletcher Opera Institute, I was in another young artist program. They needed somebody to sing Mrs. Herring, and they sent me the music, and I learned it. And but I also think that, I think it served me well. I think that those kinds of the things that you, if you believe in that part of yourself, that I can do this, and I can actually perform it really well, not just phone it in and just make it through, but really perform it well. People will remember that, and then invite you back, and they'll also talk to their friends about that you're dependable and you'll come through in a pinch.
I really think that you were able to shine at this moment because of your strong piano background too. Because you can just go into a room and not have to have someone else come and play for you, but you can just play it, plunk it in,
Yes.
And you know how that feels in your body. There's the kinesthetics of being able to play your piano part and then having that part of your DNA. So when you sing it without even an orchestra rehearsal, you've already played that orchestra part so many times in your body. It's just,
Yes.
all you got to do is just open your voice.
Yes, that's so true. And I tell all of my students that the best thing that they can do, aside from continuing to study voice well into their, later years, is take piano. That is a skill that, like you said, it has come through for me when I've needed it most. I don't know how I would be able to learn so quickly without the piano background, because sight reading voice, not piano, but sight reading voice has always come pretty easy to me because of that. I mean, I've never had to memorize the circle of fifths. I know, key signatures, and you're absolutely right. And so students, take piano, darn it.
The teacher side of you is coming. We'll talk about your teacher side in a moment.
Right.
Stephanie, for my interaction with you, especially during the Carmen and then you as a friend, I've always thought and admire how poised you are and how calm you are. Your both feet are so grounded.
Thank you.
But what is your secret when it comes to performing, or are you putting on a completely different face that we don't know, and you're screaming, like a headless chicken in the dressing room that we cannot see? Like, how
That's hilarious.
define me your secret?
So I don't know if it's a secret. I think when I've talked to other colleagues, I think they sort of have the same experience. I get nervous for every performance, every single one, and the nerves are they're good. It's a good energy. It's not a, oh my gosh, I don't know this music nerves. It's a I'm nervous because I'm excited, and so I've really worked super hard at using that nervous energy and turned it into a positive energy for my performing, so that it doesn't take over. That it's used in a positive way for my character, for the beautiful melody I'm about to sing. But I will say that I do have very similar stress dreams before performances, or even before the first rehearsal, which is always, sort of, you don't know what you're getting into sometimes with the first sing through. And it's like, am I going to remember all my notes and etc. So I'll have a stress dream, which is usually I walk into the theater and straight into a wig and makeup chair, and they're putting on makeup that I've never seen before, and they're putting a wig on me that I've never seen before, and it's usually a pants roll of some kind. And I'm like, what's going on? What's happening? And they're like, oh, aren't you ready for opening night of Rosenkavalier? It's always Rosenkavalier, probably because I've never sung it, so I don't know it at all. And so they're handing me this music. They're like, well, here's your score. And so I start flipping through the score going, I don't know this music. They put the costume on me and they shove me out on stage with the music in my hand. How embarrassing, how mortifying. And in the front row are my voice teachers. Every time. So in grad school, it was Dr. Wells. My current voice teacher is Marianne Pratnicki at School of the Arts. And so they're all sitting there going, what is wrong with you? How did you not prepare? I mean, that's my stress dream. So where it all comes out, and then it's cleansed, and then I can go on stage and everything's fine.
Do you own the score of Rosenkavalier?
No. No, I don't.
So I feel like maybe since your mother is on this video chat, on this interview, maybe she can send you a vocal score of Rosenkavalier, and maybe for your stay-home activity.
Oh.
You might be able to live your dream and actually learn it, so that when you actually come back to performing and have that dream, you could be like, I know this music.
This. So hot.
I know this. Right.
It'll be a totally different opera. It'll be some Wagner thing I will never sing. It'll be like, I'm not supposed to sing this.
It's a sign, Stephanie. It's a sign.
Okay. All right. Okay, I see.
Several comments from our viewers right now. Nevsky, lots of exclamation mark.
Yes.
This is still talking about your,
my Nevsky
performance. Yes. And then your friend Connie mentioned about, piano playing.
Connie would say that she's an excellent piano teacher.
And then,
oh, thanks, Fen.
but Fenlon also, spent majority of her career on stage singing as a performer, and then she says that those dreams are the reasons I became a director.
Oh, I have to know what your stress dream was, Fenlon. You text me right now. I need to know what your stress dream was. Yeah, thanks, Em. Thanks. Oh, great.
Right.
Thanks, Mom.
You just never know what comes out of these interviews.
That's right.
Tell us about collaborating with either a conductor or an orchestra for the very first time that you've never worked with before. You can, you're more than welcome to talk about the Carmen experience if you want to. But you don't have to. What goes in your mind when you have to collaborate with a new artist?
Yeah, I think it's sort of that nervous energy again. It's what is this conductor? Well, first of all, what are they going to be like? Is the conductor going to help us out musically, or is there going to be no kind of guidance? Are they just going to sort of let us do what we do? I really love direction. Just for the record, I love being given like specifics, and here's what I would really like from this, and especially if it's something I've never done before, with an opera that I have done before, like, oh, let's try singing it this way. I really love that because that keeps this art form, which is so important and so special, alive and relative. So I really love that, but it is a little nerve-wracking just not knowing the conductor. It's always nice to have like a person that in a room. So not knowing how the voices are going to sound together. Am I sticking out? Am I not? Can you not hear me because the person I'm singing with all the time, it has a more, has a bigger voice than I do. So all those things sort of come into play. And again, I think what you said earlier, Kay, about just my training, that I think that kicks in sort of, right from the first notes that I'm singing. I'll be nervous. I'll start to sing and remind myself, yeah, you're fine. You know this. You've done this before. You're a professional. And so that really does kick in, and then I can adjust. And again, that is really part of all the wonderful teachers I've had that have taught me, okay, if the conductor's asking for this is how you're going to sing it, so that they get what they want, and you're not sacrificing anything vocally, and then everyone's happy, and then there's still, again, that art that's happening, as the moments come. Yeah,
there is that spontaneity of collaborating with artists that you never worked with, and finding that magical something that comes about. You have every anticipation of how you want your music, your vision of what this music should sound like, or what you feel is comfortable. But then when you collaborate, the beauty of collaboration is the fact that you have other singers and other conductors that you're working with, artists that you're working with, and what comes out together, and then in the process of the rehearsal is what is so beautiful about working together. Yes,
I think that's beautiful, and I think that Bob Moody, who is he's in Memphis and was the conductor at Winston-Salem. He used to say that before every performance, or it might have been the final dress, that in this moment, there's not going to be this group of people together. Again, this is a very unique moment. Even if it's the same people and the same soloists tomorrow, it's still different. And I think that's what I think brings people back to the symphony, to the opera, to listen. And I think that's what brings us as artists back to the stage, is that excitement of the spontaneity, that it is a little bit different every time. And I think that's what I know we're going to get to, but again, my teacher brain is going on. That's what I try to instill in my students, is that if you're striving for this perfection, you're not going to get there because there's always something that's a little bit different. There's always going to be that little section that wasn't quite exactly how you wanted it to go, but that's what's going to keep you coming back to it to try to just continue to better yourself. Not perfection, but just continue to improve and grow. And I think that's, that's what those collaborative experiences bring to us. And that's what I love. Yeah. It's like hearing, like I said, I didn't know Alex Romano before that experience. So hearing her Carmen, it's like, okay, how does then my Mercedes complement her Carmen? How are we different? How are we the same when we sing together? When, when I'm trying to be the leader and then she's like, no, I'm the leader. So it really is so wonderful. It's just the best. I mean, I always say this to my students, to my family, when I've been given the opportunity to sing anything. It could be a solo at my church. It could be a little rock band that I've put together at the Music Academy of my friends because they'll let me do it. It's a gift. And it's addicting. I love it.
Your comment is a great transition to a question that we have, which is when collaborating on stage, how much of your acting choices become static, consistent, as opposed to fluid and improvised? If there is even a set amount, or does it depend on the co-stars? What do you think about that question?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that when I'm coming to a role that I've done before, I have certain tricks. I have certain tools that I'm going to rely on. And that could be from a previous production that I've done or just ideas that I already have. So I like to come to the table with some ideas. And then I am very willing to try new things, either from the director or from my colleagues on stage. I love the rehearsal process. Of course, I love the performances, but I love the rehearsal process because we find out about each other. And so there are some things that I feel help me stay true to the character that I not necessarily don't want to give up on, but that helps me stay grounded in the character, in the singing. And then there are things that I definitely am super flexible with, that I like to play with new ideas. And I think a lot of it does depend on the co-stars and, and the guidance from the conductor, from the stage director. Good question, Emily.
Thank you, Emily. Tell us about the Music Academy of North Carolina.
Oh, so I'm the associate director and chair of the voice faculty at MANC, we like to call it. And MANC. We're a nonprofit. We're a nonprofit community music school here in Greensboro, North Carolina. And we teach, I'm going to give you the mission statement, and then you're going to be tested, okay, on the mission statement. Okay. So our mission is to enable students of all ages, interests, abilities, and backgrounds to discover, develop, realize, and express their inherent talents. And that means that we welcome all students from the very, very young to the adult. We actually have about 12 to 15% of our students are adult students. And we welcome students where they are. So if they are very beginners, we welcome you and we have a teacher for you. If you're intermediate, we have a teacher for you. If you're really wanting to be the next concert pianist, we have a teacher for you. But we also recognize that we're going to have students that come through our doors that just love music and want it to be a part of their lives forever. And that is just as important as the next concert pianist. Because if we don't instill the love of music to young students, there will be nobody at these concerts to see the next concert pianist. And I think that sometimes we forget about that. I think, we have Greensboro is such a vibrant community of performing ensembles, performing artists, and educational institutions. And I think that it starts with the education, and that's really what we value. We value excellent faculty. So even if you're a 5-year-old beginning piano student, your teacher could have their doctorate in collaborative piano, because we believe that each student, no matter where they are, deserves the very best. And so we go through, part of my job is hiring new faculty. And so we go through a rigorous hiring process to make sure that they are the very best and that they believe in our mission. And so, you know, we have, when I said coming through our doors, I almost cried a little bit, because obviously we're not open right now. So when everything sort of went down, we closed our doors and we went to virtual teaching, which has been, it's been great and it's been weird. But all of our faculty were just, you know, right on board with the plan, with completely just switching gears and going to teaching from their music, you know, rooms in their house. And it's been a wonderful thing to see. And it's also sort of brought out students that I wouldn't think would excel virtually, but they have. I think maybe, you know, just being in their home, they're a little bit more comfortable. My studio is the first one on the right when you walk into the Music Academy. So I think they know that, you know, you can hear people singing. So maybe, I don't know, they feel more comfortable singing in their room, you know, as opposed to my studio. So it's been just such an interesting experience. And I'm so pleased that such positivity has come out of it, that people didn't run away screaming like, oh my God, I'm not going to take voice lessons online. That's crazy. You know, you can't fix me when my posture is off. And we've just all learned to adapt. And I'm so proud of the Music Academy and what we've done, and the people that I work with every day, my voice faculty and the rest of the faculty and my staff. It's a wonderful place to work. It really is.
For our viewers, can you tell us a little bit of the process of becoming a student?
Sure. So right now, until further notice, we are still teaching virtual lessons. And really, I mean, since it's virtual lessons, that's open to anyone. So Kay, you're on the perfect spot of the website. If you want to click on, you know, register for group classes or lessons, we won't be having group classes yet, obviously, because we're not back in a group yet. But you can register for lessons, and that's our online registration site right there. And you can take lessons over the summer virtually with any one of our wonderful faculty. We would have summer camps starting next week. Our summer term starts next Monday. So we're not going to have summer camps as we know it to be, but we are going to have summer offerings. So we have some classes that you can take. Two of our piano faculty are doing a Debussy class, which will involve, you know, personal coachings and then a performance at the end. We're going to have online lectures. So Stephen, I need you to register for my How Do They Sing Like That lecture, which is about non-classical singers. It's very fun. And then, you know, talking about the sitar. Yeah, you have it up. You're awesome. All about the sitar, a bluegrass lecture. I think later on in the summer, we're going to do like a ukulele crash course. So we just want to make sure that we're there for our students, because what we've heard from parents and students is that continuing with their music lessons has been such a wonderful sense of normalcy, that with school going online, lessons going online, and not having the same kind of personal engagement, the lessons have really helped sort of overcome any kind of isolation feeling. And that has been just a wonderful thing to hear from parents and students. So we're going to keep virtual lessons until further notice. And right now, we will have limited staff and faculty welcome back in the building if they want to. It's not required. And of course, faculty are welcome to continue teaching from their home. But we have just started preparing for reopening, whatever that's going to look like. So we put down some one-way arrows in the building so that there's sort of no, you know, congestion and congregating. We've ordered 500 masks. We're looking into those hand sanitizer machines. So, you know, we're working on it. It's a work in process. It's hard when guidelines are sort of gray.
Of course.
So, yeah. So, but I'm just so proud that we're continuing to teach lessons and keep the students engaged. I'm proud of the students, and I'm proud of our faculty for all of their hard work. So.
And the viewers can find more information at Music Academy
Yes.
So please go and check it out. We also have comments from some of your friends from Mang.
Yay.
Mm.
Emily teaches voice with us, and Kelly's my boss. We do have the best teachers. I agree. Thomas is one of our piano faculty. Oh, Shayna's one of my best friends and used to work at the Music Academy actually right before me. So yeah, she moved back to Buffalo. We miss her.
So Stephanie, my final question for today is, performing music has become such a routine activity for us for so many years. Performance is what defines us as performers and artists on stage. Then all of a sudden, because of this world crisis, performing in public has become extremely difficult. How has your attitude towards music and performing for an audience changed?
It's a wonderful question. So I think that if I were to say that I didn't take performing for a live audience for granted, that would be a bit of a lie. I think that I just assumed that it would always be there. Now I just did. I even when the talks of the virus coming here was happening, I was sort of not wanting to believe it and hoping it would just go away. So when it didn't, and I had to go to teaching online, that, my student is an audience member right there. And I'm an audience member for their lesson. That was very, it was disheartening. And so then realizing that, okay, well, when everything does come back, and maybe we're ready as performers to get back out there, is the audience going to be ready? Are they going to feel safe coming back? And I don't know. I don't know what that is going to look like, but I miss it. So much of singing and performing is that audience interaction. And it's not just, it's not just the applause. It's it's that feeling in the opera house, in the symphony hall, that you can tell when everybody is just waiting for the next note. They've like stopped breathing for a minute, and they're really listening to the music. Or like, some of my, favorite things to do when I'm not, like, if it's a Messiah, and I'm sitting for a while, is to look out into the audience, and you just see all these different expressions on people's faces. I remember one, I think it was in Santa Fe. She was like in the second row, and I could just see that there was just joy on her face for like 98% of the performance. And it was a long performance, but her eyes were closed. She just had this big smile on her face. And I was like, but we are bringing, joy to this woman. How lucky, we are so lucky to be able to do this. And that's what I really miss. I miss those reactions, not just like, oh my God, you're amazing, but I miss those reactions, those comments that I would receive after, patrons that, this piece was my first piece. My uncle took me when I was 6, and it's always meant so much to me. And every time I hear it, it's different. And I think that's true for me too. Every time I hear a piece, it's a little bit different. And yeah, I miss the audience, and for my students too. We've been doing these virtual recitals, and they've been terrific. And again, some of my students that don't normally jump at the chance to perform have been more ready to perform it for a virtual recital. They really miss. They do miss performing for their family and a group, because it gives them. It's a goal, it really is a goal for them to sort of really validate what they've been doing, and for their hard work to just to sing to a screen it's weird. But my husband and I have been sort of playing around with he's a middle school band director here in Greensboro, and he also plays saxophone. That's his main instrument. And so we've been playing around with doing something together, like me singing and playing the piano, and him doing some saxophone, and that has helped, just finding ways to keep the music going. Just like, sort of practicing what I preach to my students, just sing something for fun. It doesn't matter. You don't have to do what I'm telling you to do every day. Just sing for fun. Keep the joy in it. And I think that's what I tell them when they walk in the studio for the first time. You have to find the joy in the singing, because if it's not joyful, if it's not bringing you joy and it's not making you happy, then we have to figure something else out, because that's the most important thing. It should bring you happiness. And so that's what brings me joy is performing. And I look forward to when we're back in whatever sort of way that looks to be back performing. And I will definitely never take it for granted again, because it has been, it's very silenced, without an audience. So.
No, it's very wonderful, and it also is about adapting to this new normal. And one of the things that we've gotten so used to performing in such complex and very elaborate and really a lot of things, like big chorus, big stage, big because that is something, it's the wow factor that we are so used to in opera or in recitals visually, right? And so it's funny that you mentioned Rosenkavalier, because yesterday I was just having a conversation with my dear friend Cecilia Hall, who's at Opera Frankfurt, and she did Opera Frankfurt just did a performance yesterday live, and I just wanted to show you how simple the stage looks. And they perform Rosenkavalier here, and as I was watching this performance, it brought me to tears, because this is all we need. Music is all we need. It's just the simplicity of the music that really touches us. We don't need the extra fabric. And
I agree.
And this is as simple as 3 people on stage, right? Doing a big opera. It's an hour and 20 minutes of singing, but you can still do the storytelling. And I feel that many of the opera companies in Europe are going forward with producing lots of different things, even though we may not have an audience, but just producing content online so that we are always giving music to our fans. And it's something that I think every artist needs to start to adjust and keep doing, because
absolutely. Yeah, I know. I was reading about Germany and how they are moving forward and finding ways to make people feel safe if they want to come back. And and then on the unfortunate flip side is the Royal Opera House is tanking, and how horrible would that be to that culture. And so I think that so many opera companies, I think already have been very creative with how they produce opera. It's so expensive to put on an opera just on a normal day. And so finding ways to, okay, how can we do this without a set? Like you say, how can we do it without the costumes? And this is how you do it. You can do it with minimal, like a chair. And it is still, you're right, it is super powerful, because when it comes down to it, it is the words and it is the music and it is those characters. And you're absolutely right. And I think that, we will probably see a surge in, small, like salons almost, in home house concerts. And I know that was already going on before, because that is such a lovely, intimate, experience. But I think that there will be more of those. And again, it's a place where people will feel safe with their crew, like this is my 10. This is my 10 people that I feel safe with, and we're going to, bring these people in. And, we're talking at the Music Academy about how to, fundraise this upcoming year. That's the other really big part of my job. And normally we would have a gala with our students and our faculty performing in this big space with over 100 people. Well, we can't do that. So we're trying to figure out, how do we make it just as impactful on a smaller scale? And it certainly can be done, because you're right. It is all about the music, and we have to keep offering this music to everyone, to keep it alive, to keep people normal, to keep people feeling like there is some normalcy. And I think that people now more than ever have been turning to music for that, for the therapy, for the joy, for the experience, or to have a good cry. I think that that you're right. We need to keep offering these performances.
And then it's also like for, I feel that for the Music Academy mindset, that people train because they want to perform, and they're going, as for example, a gala, for they're looking up to and processing their training and preparation and rehearsing so that they can perform at the gala. I think a beautiful way to incorporate how to get sponsorship is if it becomes like a live stream concert or an online content. People who want to support for the arts, they want to be seen that they're supporting for the arts. So something as an advertisement at the bottom of the screen or at the top of the screen, per song, per person, providing a package to donors that, with your contribution, you are able to support this singer to sing this aria, or this pianist to play this song, and then incorporating that element into the live stream would make most, would bring smiles to everyone's face, I think. And it brings the supporters' name and their contribution in the forefront, and then the artist who is singing also in the forefront, collaborating together. So this is gonna be like this for quite some time. And even the Opera Frankfurt video that we just watched, I believe that there weren't any audience. They couldn't have had any audience anyways. And it's just getting used to not playing for an audience, but there are always going to be patrons of the arts who want to support us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I think
recognizing that.
I think you maybe missed your calling in development, Kay. That was a wonderful way to just bring in, I love it, sponsorship, and
it's what I do as music director.
Yes,
so
we have to wear many hats. It's true.
Fantastic. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for your time. This was so lovely to chat with, and thank you for the many viewers that watched us live and commented. There's so many comments that that people did that I didn't have time to share everything.
I love it.
Stephanie, you can go and check it out.
I will.
This Music Today show is almost daily. I do it twice a day, and tomorrow we have conductor Tito Munoz, and then a soprano, Diana Braywick, and then on the following day we have two guests, Jose Luis Gomez, conductor, and then the one and only tenor, Carl Tanner.
Wonderful.
So please join, and let's hope for the best that concert performances will come back soon. But we also just have to adapt to doing music in an interesting way, in a fun way, and deploying a positive out of all of the situation.
That's right.
So
it's going to take all these creative minds to come up with a new creative way to bring it to people's homes.
Great. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much, and miss you a lot. And
I miss you too. Thank you for asking me to do this. It's been so fun.
Of course. Hope to see you soon. And everyone, have a good night. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share this video. ありがとうございました。チャンネル登録、いいね、そしてこのビデオをぜひシェアしてください。